Yes guys, hope we're all good. So a little bit of a different start to this video. Well actually this is at the end of the video, but this will be the intro. In terms of what we're going to try and do is give you an insight into where I am, like per week, where I'm going, why the changes I'm making, or why I'm not making certain changes, for example. So the video that you would have seen before this will be the full day of eating, where my calories, I believe, just speaking to Joe then, were around 5,000?
5,100
and 700 carbs, something like that, wasn't it? So 700 carb, and that was split across every single day. I was running 200 milligrams of test per week, no graph or no insulin, just as is. Just trying to get that position of health and being fresh, and almost for the first time ever as a bodybuilder, or in my bodybuilding career definitely, taking the standpoint of like sort of like less is more, and just simply because that runs of illness, like it's a sign to just fucking back off now. The rest of the year can be fantastic. So that's what I did. It was difficult for me mentally, but everything's flying now. And then obviously that would have been around 2 weeks ago. So after then I've kept the food the same up until this week. So my weight was between 256 and 260. I'm holding 260 quite comfortably now. So there's like 4 pounds gone on there, which I can hold. Sometimes I drop to 259, sometimes on 261. So I'm in that bracket now where I'm comfortably staying where I am. I've introduced drugs this week as well. And with doing that, quite quickly my composition has changed. So even though the body weight stayed the same, the look is much fuller. So I'm much more fuller, I'm a little bit drier already, I look leaner, and I'm getting that almost on cycle look quite quick. So that's very good, very responsive from 1 week on cycle. The cycle what I've implemented we will talk about in another video. Sorry to do that to you, but I just think it's a little bit better. It's a bit more content and it's a little bit more relevant per video why and what we're doing. Food wise, we've gone up 75 grams of carbs per day. That's it, and I've only split over my breakfast and meal 5. So the meals that I find easiest to eat, I've implemented just some oats and cream of rice in meal 1 and some more rice in meal 5 basically. And that's not going to be enough to start my body weight going up drastically, but because the cycle's only gone in this week, plus the food change as well, that's going to be enough to see where I am at the end of next week. And I'm pretty much then going to do a larger food increase, which will probably be around 150 grams of carbs more on a high day. So for example, where my chest is, I need more chest, a high day there, more back and more delts, them days will be high days, leg days will be lower days, etc. I've also implemented insulin from this week, so the cycle went in along with insulin. But rather than going straight up to 15 IU pre and post, or 10 IU, sometimes 20 IU pre and post, I've just gone in at 5 IU. So 5 IU pre and post. One thing I don't want to do, cycle goes in, insulin goes in, food goes up, boom, I'm a complete water baby. What's responded the best? Has it been the insulin, has it been the cycle, has it been the food? So I know I've got a good response of cycle, that's been established this week, but the look is that of, okay, this is great. And then the food, body weight's not changing. However, I am a little bit tighter because of the cycle, but then again, I've been at this same body weight for a while now, so I need to increase my food. I've increased my food enough, and also put in a little bit of insulin. Really, it's not going to bang me full of water and get me fuller. It's just going to make me pretty much transport them carbs a little bit better. Now the cycle's going to kick in and I can assimilate food better. So really now just making sure that all the processes I'm using are more efficient. So the food's going to be uptaken more efficiently. So with the insulin as well, carbohydrates around the workout are going to be used more efficiently, and with the cycle again, that's going to help assimilate food better. So recovery is better already. I can feel that I'm not as sore throughout the week. I'm training my back and I'm not waking up the next day crippled. I'm pretty much ready to go again. So I'm really looking forward to this next 6 to 7 weeks when things are starting to really come together, where I'll probably push up this month an extra 10 pounds. So we're looking really to be at the end of this month at 270, and then really solidify the month after like a 275. Obviously body weight's not important. However, from previous to the look I know that I want, if I can hit nearly a really solid 275 in the next 8 weeks, then that leaves me 4 months of being from probably the best position I've been to the end of my off season, which means all in 4 months then is going to be new territory, new muscle, and that's exactly what we've been needing. So arms today, we'll go to the gym and crack on with that, and we'll go from there.
Are we on? Are we ready for it? Welcome back YouTube to a slightly different surrounding. Oh no, we have filmed here before, haven't we? We did back here, so this is Ultraflex Durham, the gym I've been training at most often at the minute. It's a couple of hours away from Rotherham, a couple of hours drive, but I've been staying up here trying to feel it out like I mentioned before, and I'm actually really enjoying it. The only thing I can't get on here with is the chest kit. Like, there's a massive array of chest kit, it's really good. But for me, there's just a couple of machines that you saw me do last time on the previous push video that really gets me. So I'm maybe going to have to find a different gym to see if there's just any different kit that hits me a little bit better. That's super important for me this year. But today we are in for arms. Arm day, shock, what a waste of a day. So for me, arm day is one of the most important days of my week, and probably one of the most important part of a lot of people's week as well, if you have it or not. Push-pull legs, if we like to admit it or not, leaves holes in people's physique and it leaves them with shit arms. If you've not got good arms genetically and you do push-pull legs and solely push-pull legs, the work you do on your arms is not enough. I don't care what study says it is, I don't care what person or what coach says it is, it's not. You can see it in physiques. People have no arms, especially as British bodybuilders or British athletes in general. It's a massive point where people are down, and it's anecdotal. You can see that through when you watch people on stage, when you see people in the gym. We don't have an array of impressive arms in the UK, whereas America, Europe, it's the thing, because they have arm days, believe it or not. So if you're somebody whose arms are lagging and you don't have an arm day, stop being a dick or an idiot and just put it in there. I don't care if it's losing one of your rest days. But, you know, if you do an arm day right, it does take a lot of energy, but at the same time, every single shot you do as a bodybuilder, if you're a competitive bodybuilder, has arms in it. Front double bicep, side chest is your arm, back double bicep, side tricep. It's you know, the clue's in the name. So if you're not prioritising arms when they're a weak body part, please just give it a go for 6, 8, 10 weeks. You're not going to lose anything. You're only going to gain something. And then if you do arms and you're not seeing an improvement in the size of them, then please also listen to this video and some of the cues I'm going to give you today, because I was that person up until I almost figured out the formula, if you like, or what works in terms of trying to put tissue on a stubborn body part. So you'd have seen something very similar to this. There's no need for me to change it because it's working. My arms are getting bigger. I didn't measure them actually yesterday morning. Cold, it is cold, and they were 20 and a quarter. So I reckon, you know, I'll get them up to like 20 and a half when they're pumped. So I'll definitely be at 21 by the end of the off season, which isn't a bad arm. If Joe's get the angles right today, you might be able to see how big they are. But yeah, first exercise, preacher curl, or an exercise that you feel best. In my clients' training, they will say it won't specify to do a preacher curl, because if you're doing a preacher curl and you just can't get away from this, or you just can't feel it, then it's pointless you doing a preacher curl. Whereas if you do maybe a single arm machine curl or a cable curl and you feel it best there, I would recommend starting with that. A machine that hits you really well on your biceps to start with, and we're going to take our time doing 4 sets. So we're going to do 4 sets of 20 to 25, and we're going to just make sure that first and foremost all we're doing is contracting bicep and lengthening bicep. When we're lengthening, we're not leaning forward, we're keeping our chest up at all times. And you could literally just, on the prime machine, I do it with no weight on it. I literally just contract, lengthen. For 25 reps for the first set. Just get blood in the bicep. Let's start getting that mind muscle connection going straight away. Nice and light. You can do it single arm or you can do it dual arm. I prefer to do it dual arm. It just still get good connection, and it's a little bit quicker, so the pump's a bit better personally for me. So I'm allowing the load in the lengthened, squeezing in the shortened, finding the best position, which is there, I think. So I can feel it in the squeeze. I can allow it to come down without going through my shoulders there. And I squeeze. Just stay on that. So first set, I've got no pain or pump or anything in my forearm. My shoulders felt none of that. I've literally just hit the bicep. So if you can stand there and contract your bicep and come down and you feel it stretch, that's all you need to do. Trying to lift too much weight or just having too much emphasis on this tightness when you're in the movement. So just relax, squeeze, relax and squeeze, which is easier said than done. But just finding different ways or just trying different things, it's really not going to hurt. And one thing we're going to do here is we're going to gauge the quality and the effectiveness of our arm workout based on your pump. So people who are doing progressive overload or any other style of training or load focused training, for example, that's not the case with arms. You do not need load with arms. The less the better. At some points when you get very good at connecting with your arms, lifting a heavy load will be beneficial, absolutely. But initially when we're trying to engage the muscle and we're trying to get blood in there, nothing's heavy. So we're gauging it on how much blood we can get in the muscle, so more metabolic work, which means Rest between sets is shorter, so 60-second maximum. So I've just finished that set there, probably chatted for 30 seconds, probably a little bit longer. I'll just increase the weights by 1 and I'll go back in, and then I'll do exactly the same, another minute, go back in. That's 4 sets within 7 or 8 minutes, and straight away my biceps, even just lifting my arm like this, I can feel it full of blood, so I know that I'm on to a great start. It's probably worth pointing out as well, now you'll see in this session I always start with my biceps, and predominantly the reason for that is simply because that's what I find the hardest to connect with. I feel like sometimes if I have a tricep pump and I go and do a bicep curl, I almost don't have that raw feeling at the beginning. I've got like a blood-filled arm feeling, so the connection isn't as good. So again, if you're the opposite way around, you can contract your bicep really well, but not as much your tricep. Maybe try going in and trying the tricep first, where you're in a position where you're a lot fresher and there's no weakness there. But again, it's just feeling like what's right for you. If you feel like you hit your tricep first and then you get a bicep connection, that's absolutely fine. There's no science at the beginning, apart from I know when I come in and do a bicep movement first, it leaves me in a position where I've got good connection with my arms, I've got plenty of blood in there, I feel lubricated, no injuries at all, and that's the reason why I start with biceps personally. You see as well, I'm not going to failure. By the time your biceps are going to come into failure in this position, it's very likely you're going to start doing this. We just want to be able to be doing this all the time. Volume is our friend today. Volume's my friend all the time, but volume today in particular is your friend as well. So that's that done. Exercise 1, I'm feeling pumped, feeling good. Pre-workout's kicked in. I had 3/4 of a scoop today, so I could talk to the camera a little bit more, get me going. And then we're going to do a tricep movement, again a tricep movement that I feel are best. Personally, I really like the prime splitter, so I'll go and see if the prime cable's free, and we'll do that same principle as exercise 1. And then again after that, we're firmly into the middle of the, well not the middle, but we're firmly into the arm day there, and then we can start attacking some more intense sets. So prime split prime splitter bar, or something, anything which is reasonably flexible that you could potentially either do a rope with, or even like a handle each side like this. This really gets me. The prime is taken, which means that the arms are a little bit higher, so here as you can see that is not enough stretch on the tricep, so my finishing position wants to be here, and it is as high as I can get it. So in order to finish here, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take a little step back, so then I can finish here without it locking out. Just means I keep my chest up and my shoulders back. Still the same movement, exactly the same as bicep, just squeeze, elbow back as you come up, chest up, stretch, push from the stretch. Again, just getting it in that stretch position. Again, the weight's not heavy, the set's reasonably long, but it's so important. A lot of people always say, oh, an arm day is boring. But to me, you're just not doing the arm day right. I think an arm day is boring if you're training it in like a progressive overload style, not if you're doing all out fucking blood flow. You're just trying to work it as much as possible. Different ranges, different connection points. I think it's one of my favourite days, to be honest with you. Right, so if you've followed some of my arm day stuff before, you'd have seen this before. It's refined a little bit for me now. So I used to do like a 50-50, 40-40. I'll pretty much do like a 40 and come down, and rather than the last 2 sets just do 20, I'll do 20 and then a heavier 20, just because my connection is a lot better than it was, excuse me, previously. So it means I can just get a little bit more load when I've got a lot of blood in there. So again, I like to use the Vulcan because it allows me my hand position to be anywhere. It could be here, it could be here, it could be here. It's very flexible. So what I prefer to do is when I keep my chest up, I almost drag it in like this. That's my good connection point. If I do this, sometimes my shoulder can just be uncomfortable if I'm in that position for too long. So I like to keep my chest up. It's almost just like a crab, most muscular. Just squeeze bicep, let it come down. But still locked into that position. Believe it or not, there is no right or wrong way to do something. If you feel it and it contracts and it stretches, it's right. Right, so 40 reps, 40 reps, 30 reps, 30 reps, 20 reps, 20 reps, 20, 20. So with these, the first 20, you may not feel it because it has to be light enough. So if you start and it gets heavy after 10, you're fucked. We're just building the blood into the muscle. Full stretch, full squeeze. Building it in, rep after rep, until we got the last 10, 15 reps, and it'll be hard. So even though it's heavy there, I'm still trying to contract every single rep. I'm not just moving it. I'm not missing a rep on the bicep. My arm feels pumped to death there. I'll take that for a man with no arms 10 months ago. And honestly, it is as simple as just having some humility about you, just to fucking allow yourself to be vulnerable in movements and just get outside of that box that you're in, of this. Like, very few cases people's arms just don't grow. I've had clients previously, well actually my client is one of my best friends, who his just arms won't grow. He's training me every day. We could not get that fucker's arms to move. And sometimes that is the case. I don't know the reason behind that, I really don't. But 8 times, 9 times out of 10, it's people lifting with other body parts just not moving correctly. And that was me for a long time. And I know what I used to do, and I know what I do now, and the difference is night and day. And that's just me not being bothered about how strong I am or how many reps I can get, and just really focusing on just contracting the bicep as hard as I can, but then just keeping it on. And that it's that simple. Same with tricep, getting up here and not doing this and just allowing myself to go like that. I'm weak as piss in that movement. Like literally I've got a plate on that cable, but just doing that tricep seeing tension it's not seen before, because you're never allowing it in that position to have any tension on it, because you're taking this or you're taking this or you're taking this. You're not here and you're not here and you're not there. Just try it. When you're very weak and it feels like your arm won't move and you've probably got some fucking, feels like you've got some kind of nerve damage, just spend some time just doing that. If it's with no weight at all, just try it. Just for a number of weeks with volume, and I guarantee you will see a difference. That's certified coming from Team Tonk, head coach and only coach. Right, so that's like the volume aspect. Now we're going to do some couple of exercises. We will do a single arm preacher, or like a single arm bicep machine a single arm tricep machine. Then we'll do some heavy preacher curls. No, we won't. We'll do some heavy preacher curls now into a heavy tricep machine. Then we'll do single arm bicep, single arm tricep. That's what we're going to do. That's what I've always done. I don't know why I said that. Just ignore me. But don't turn off. Right, so the machine for the heavy preacher that I wanted to use is people are using it. I think we're going to be on there a while as well. So we will use this. I'm not a massive fan of this. You have to be leant over so far to be able to get that. So I can't come up, if that makes sense. So we'll try it. We'll put a little bit of load on it, increasing load on it. We'll do 3 sets. If we can get 2 sets out of, and them guys finish, but I don't think they will. We may jump onto that for a couple of sets, but 4 sets on here. It's a really heavy machine, is this. So we'll just creep the load up. But there's no real set weight up, there's no real set rep range on this, like 10 to 15 really. If I'm getting up into the 20s, it's too light for me right now. Grab that, that's wank. That's wank. So what we'll do the single arm stuff first, alright, and then we'll just do the heavy stuff second. It don't make a difference, I just normally like to finish on a single arm. But that's another thing, if you're doing exercises on your plan, but you don't feel anything and you don't like them and they just don't suit you, don't do them. Or obviously if you've got a coach, speak to your coach, and then he may ask for a video of you doing it, and then, you know, that's a conversation you need to have about it's just not working for you, you don't feel it, you're uncomfortable in it. Very uncomfortable in that there. This palm won't supinate as much as this, but we'll go on to this. It's one of the best pieces in the gym. So again, good thing about single arm is it allows yourself, you can line yourself up with the machine. Whereas if you're doing this dual, unless you have great rotation, it's just going to be no good for you. So I can position myself in the line of the arm, so everything's going straight, and it's not going away from me. Like if you're going to do a back row, it's not going to row out there. You're going to line yourself up and do it in that manner. Also, getting the height on this is quite important, because you don't want to be in a position where you bring in this. You want to be in a position where you can almost keep that in that position, which again will require probably a lighter weight than you're used to lifting. So I can get a full stretch there. My arm is straight, or as straight as I can get it anyway. Now squeeze, straight. this. For me personally, I get a little bit of a better contraction if I come up and then I come away a little bit from the pad. Again, no right or wrong. So nice is that. Nice on like the peak. So just do 3 sets on here rather than 4, because this would have originally been the last exercises, which is 3 sets. You may get to this point in the session where you might be like, oh, well, my arms are trashed, I've done enough. But, you know, some people might call it junk volume. But I believe that's what made me grow the best. Getting to the point where I'm normally like, all right, everything's done, and just still pounding them. Especially if you're assisted and you're in off-season and you've got enough food in you. And absolutely no reason why you can't recover from an arm day, even if it's like an 8-hour-long ridge behind arm day. I used to say to Milos when I was doing this arm day, and I sent him it through, he's like, oh, that's good. And I said, yeah, by the end of it, I sort of lose my pump. And he didn't believe me. He was like, no, you don't. I said, yeah, Milos, I lose my pump. I feel like when that's gone, that should be it. He's like, I don't believe you lose your pump. I think you lose your pump, but you don't. But all right, bro. But he was right. It was just me at the time not having enough endurance to be able to keep that connection up with my muscle, whereas now I do. And I'm not saying by any means that I have fucking fantastic arms, because I don't. But I have grown them a significant amount in such a short space of time from doing one thing. And that's the whole point of this, is I'll try something, I'll tell my clients to try it. If I see progression across the board and it's not just a fluke with me genetically or something, then I'll tell you guys, or I'll just make it a thing. Because there's far too many people now who are talking in absolutes. In bodybuilding, there's no absolutes. You can fucking read as many studies and as much literature as you want, but none of that is done on people like us. Again, the whole notion of, you know, training X amount of sets or eating X amount of protein. Nobody's done a study on a 270 pound bodybuilder who's fucking 10% body fat, who eats fucking 7,000 calories a day and takes 3 grams of anabolics a week. Nobody's done it, they haven't. So until they do, and until they've done that for a period of time, then I'll listen to something. Whereas if somebody does something and it gets a visual response, there's enough data there for anybody. So you need to start recognising when somebody's doing something, watching what they're doing. If it gets a response, maybe try it yourself. Unless, caveat to that, it's someone like fucking Philly, because they're so genetically gifted, they can do anything. Somebody generally who's not changing much, or who doesn't have a great success rate at doing something, and they try something and then they grow. That's who you want to watch. Right, so plans have changed again. We don't matter. So rather than single arm tricep now, that machine's taken, we'll just do the heavier tricep. And again, this is the beauty of not using a logbook. I'm going to do this exercise anyway. I've not logbooked it. Doesn't matter how strong I am, it doesn't matter how many reps, as long as my connection with the tricep is good, and it's going to be good. Whether I did the single arm first or this first or this second, it really doesn't matter. Not when you train in this manner. So, and also when I say heavy, it's just heavier. It's more of a compound movement. I'm not focusing on trying to lift the stack. I'm really focusing on getting, when I'm here, I'm almost doing a hammer curl, I'm almost pulling it into my body to get the stretch. So nice, that machine. Again, something that I can just lock into. You don't have to think about it too much, apart from when I'm in this position, it's going to drive me into a stretch. And as long as I'm keeping my chest up and my shoulder down, it's going to be on tricep on the way back down. Again, a minute to 30 seconds rest, or 45 seconds to a minute rest. Coming to the end of the session now, so we really want to start asking the right questions of the muscle, even more so. Wow. Like I said, if you do your arm day properly, it's not a rester. It's not like an active rester, because I'm fucked. I was saying to Joe in the car, food's gone up today, only by 75 gram of carb a day, but my body weight weren't moving. Cycle went in this week. If you want to know that what that is, you'll have to tune into another video. Insulin went in this week as well, only at 5 IU, 10 IU on chest day, and that'll just slowly creep up to probably 20 and 20, 15 and 15, 10 and 10 on depending which days they are, or none on a leg day. So we should get some movement now. Everything's flying, everything's locked in, everything feels good. Came on 6 months of just every single day, solid routine, training hard, just rinse and repeat, and that's all it is. Like bodybuilding, there's only so much you can do in bodybuilding. Like by the time you've adhered to your nutrition perfectly on a day, you've prioritised recovery for that day, you've had enough sleep, you've trained to the best of your ability, you've hydrated enough, there's actually nothing more that you can do. You know, we're always searching for something that's not there. The only thing really that can put you off training once you've adhered to your nutrition, you've slept enough and you've trained hard, are ultimately your decisions. The decisions that you make are what's going to either make you progress or not outside of the gym. And that's, are your friends going out for something to eat? Are they going to do X amount, you know, this activity, that activity, and you're going to go along? Or you prioritise your recovery, if you've got some time, you chill out, you rest. Or if you're on the other side of the spectrum, you get your steps and you do your cardio. That's all it is. It's very, very simple. It's just dog work, like a dog. A dog eats the same thing every day, does the same thing pretty much every day. You have that dog mentality and just keep fucking training hard in the gym. Being patient, bodybuilding is a thing of patience, and then attacking everything that you can, that's within your control. That's all you need to do. Don't overcomplicate it. Right, bicep machine's still taken. You see, I like to do bicep tricep or tricep bicep because now if I go into a tricep I'm very fatigued, whereas if I go into my bicep it allows my tricep just to regroup enough to be able to go back in. So that's my favourite way to do it. I don't think I'm going to get a heavy bicep movement in today. I could do an easy bar curl or an easy bar curl on the cable, but it just doesn't hit me. So again, doing a movement heavy that's not hitting me is pretty pointless. So we may just go and do some dumbbells, some single arm dumbbell curl, something that's quite heavily concentrated, again a lot of tension through bicep, and then onto the single arm tricep, and that's like what, 30 sets or something. But my pump's still there, so that's good. Yeah, we'll go and do some dumbbell curls on the Prime Preacher. So when we're talking about something that you're loading heavy and then tension as well, like something like this can potentially, or is likely to create more tension through the muscle than if you're going to be doing a heavy preacher where you're using momentum, a little bit of inertia, maybe some of the muscle groups. The tension through your biceps here is actually going to be more, depending on how skilled you are in that movement. So Joe just asked me a question. Why don't I control the negative as much on this one? And the case is, for me, if I try and control the negative, especially at this point of the session when I'm tired, it goes through here onto my tendon. I can't let that onto my bicep. So I go down fast enough so I can just allow my bicep to stay on still and then just get it into that stretch position. Because if I were to come down slow, there's a lot through here, and that means because I'm going over like this just because I'm tired. So it's a very good point, and it doesn't mean it's any sloppier, it just means I'm not holding it with my shoulder. I'm allowing my bicep to be as strong as possible in that vulnerable position. Oh, look, the bicep machine is free now. I finished my exercise. So I just want to do, I don't like to finish on a bicep. In the past when I've trained my arms and I've had tendon issues, it almost leaves me like in that position. So when I've got a tight bicep, so I like to train my tricep to get the blood out of the bicep so I can move a little bit more freely. So single arm bicep machine, tricep machine to finish off. That's it, in and out. Say in and out, that's probably the longest I've trained for a long time. But the arm session is reasonable, it's no shorter than any other session. And even though it's quite fast paced, there's a lot to get through. So what we got, like 2, 4, 8 exercises, 9 exercises, there's sometimes 10. And I'm doing between 3 and 4 sets there, with 2 at the end. So we're clearing 35 sets per arm session, which may seem like overkill, but that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to get an adaptation and a stimulus. If you're constantly training, tagging your arms at the end of a session, doing 4 sets of arms, 8 sets of arms a week, no bro, it's not working. It's just not. I tried it for years and years, and you know, everybody's so convincing that that's what you need to do. An arm day is a waste of a day. Like, it isn't. Put an arm day in there, maybe sacrifice a stronger body part. Like, so for example, my legs, I'm sacrificing some training frequency on them, and arms can go in. It's simple as that. Or if you are good at connecting your arms, but you've not got enough frequency or volume in them, do a shoulder and arm day, and then do a push day. So you're hitting your delts once, you've got more of a shoulder dominant actual shoulder day, and then tag arms or add arms onto that, so you're like 50-50. 10 to 12 sets of arms, 10 to 12 sets of shoulders. Two relatively small muscle groups that you can recover from. That's not going to impact on the rest of your training. So, you know, a physique in my, this is just my opinion as well, obviously, it's not, it looks like anything, but a physique in my opinion is never complete until you have arms. You know, when we all start training, we all want a set of arms. You know, we don't want to be constantly wearing baggy t-shirts because our arms can't fill t-shirts out, right? So, you know, taking the plunge and just moving out of your comfort zone and trying something, let's do it. I don't want to get too deep, but arm day, put it in there. If not, come to me, I'll coach you and give you an arm day if you want to make you feel better. Right, so that's it, guys. Obviously heard at the beginning of the video, almost a little bit like a check-in from me, where I told you where I am, what I'm going to do for the rest of the week, and then we'll check in again. I'll just bring a video out a week now. You can see the progress throughout the off season. So off season officially started this week, so everything's go, and then we'll catch you next time.